Hey, what's up, y'all? This is my third video. This is my client Bash. He's probably one of the most nicest and funniest clients I've had. He always comes in with all these different designs, which I had fun with, but God forbid, Jesus, it took me like 3 hours to do his set. I'm starting off by filing the dead nail off his nail bed. Yeah, and basically I didn't really cut everything in this video. Well, as I'm cutting the cuticles, no, but I'm talking about the video in general. This is basically somewhat raw footage. So his nail set is basically an XL nail set, and it was kind of a freestyle, but here I'm putting his tips on. If you could see in his phone on the top right, it's basically like a Monster High nail set that he drew out. You'll see it when I start the design, but I'm gluing the nail tips right now. These are C curve tips that I've got off Amazon. They were like, I'm gonna link it in the bio. If not, it was in the other videos. I've used these in the previous videos, but yeah, I was having a hard time gluing this one on. So basically I size up everything after I prep the nail. And yeah, just keep watching. Alright, so I'm going to be cutting his nail tips to size. This would be considered long for me, rather than the XXL. My XXL sets are the entire nail tip. And I'm kind of measuring with every single other nail, just make sure they're even, and I'm priming the nails. But yeah, so I'm using Dynamic Beauty Supply in Cutest Pink. This was pretty easy to work with. I say the more harder nail acrylics that are harder to work with, especially during this summertime, are the more darker colors. This is less opaque, so it's an easier base to use, especially when I'm going to be doing nail art. So it'll be more vibrant, I guess you could put it that way. But yeah, I'm using like the 2-bead method on each one. Some nails were like 3-bead, but as they're like pretty long, it's kind of hard to pick up a larger bead and do the 1-bead method. But I find this way more easier, especially when I'm doing XXL sets or just long sets. Doing like 2 to 3 beads makes the process way quicker. Alright, so I'm basically repeating the same thing that I've been doing on the other hand on this side. I'm using the 2-bead method, and the brush that I'm using is a Kolinsky brush in size 18. You just want to know that the smaller the brush you have, the more harder you have to work, I guess. You won't be picking as much acrylic with a smaller brush as you would with a larger brush. So yeah, also your brush size and being able to understand you're picking up more liquid as well with a larger brush rather than a smaller brush. You're going to be working in sections. So yeah, I start off in the middle when I apply my acrylic, then I work my way up towards the cuticle. And if you find yourself having a hard time working at the cuticle area, just know it doesn't always have to be perfect. As I'm like doing nails, I learned to realize everybody does it differently. Not, your acrylic doesn't have to be perfect, nor does your file have to be perfect. You could cut short on time by perfecting everything. Just don't be too hard on yourself. Also, I know I'm not really the best at my acrylic application, but I'm getting there. With my acrylic application, I'd say I'm having a hard time, especially when it's the summertime. It's harder to control, and I do tend to use more liquid rather than powder, especially in any weather condition or any room temperature. I tend to use a lot of liquid, but this is, to each their own. It doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, I'm starting to file each of the nails. I kind of sped up this process really quick only because I don't feel like explaining the same thing that I've been explaining for the past couple videos. But basically, you just I file the sidewalls first, and then I turn the hand over and face it towards me to make sure that all of the nails are even. Facing it towards you is kind of ensuring that all the nails that are going to be facing towards him or her is going to be even and basically coherent to each other. Is that, if that's the word? I don't know if that's the word, but yeah. And also when you're a client, make sure you are having an easy time controlling the client's hand. Stiffening up your hand as a client makes it harder for your nail tech to work, because basically they're putting all their arm and hand strength into turning your fingers. No shade towards Bash, but you know, Bash actually is one of my, calmer clients. But just in general, keep in mind that your client's hands have to be relaxed rather than tense. Let your client know that they're being too tense and to relax their hands, so it's easier for you and your physical health, because you don't want to get what do you call that when your hands get stiff? I forgot the word. Is it like arthritis? No, it's carpal tunnel. Actually, yeah, it's carpal tunnel. But yeah, you don't want to develop carpal tunnel over time, because your hands are basically your tools just as much as everything else that you have. But I'm using the 4-in-1 carbide bit that I always use just to seal the cuticle by going left to right and underneath the nail. You putting your carbide bit at a certain angle facing towards you enhances that C curve that the nail tip already has, as well as the shape that you already have. Alright, I'm going to be going in with the same sanding band I used to file his real nails. To shape up his acrylic, I go up and down to the bulk only because the acrylic was pretty thick at the time, but the apex is pretty good. I'm going up and down and left and right, up and down to debulk the nail a little bit and then shape around the free edge. I repeat the same steps I did with the carbide bit a little bit, but I tend to file the sidewalls too, just to have it adjacent to the other sidewall. But yeah, filing underneath the nail kind of enhances your C curve, especially having it at an angle. And make sure your sidewalls are pretty even so that they could look kind of seamless and straight, if you get what I'm saying, rather than having it bulky. But yeah, even out your acrylic application. After I'm done with that, I'm going in with a refiling just to straighten that sidewall. If you see, I'm kind of putting my file at an angle and making sure to hold your client's finger by the base of the nail and the cuticle area so that it doesn't have any tension towards you or the client. Yeah, and refiling the free edge is really important as well, just to have that sharp square shape, tapered square shape. Alright, after I'm done the refiling part, I'm just going to go in with my buffer and just buff out and smoothen out the nail base just to prep it for the design. Alright, he's back from watching his hands, but this is the inspo pic that he sent me. He drew out a couple pictures. It's supposed to be a Monster High styled nail design, basically like a freestyle. Yeah, so I'm using Blue Island D&D for the blue, and then I think I'm using Animated Pink for the thumb. But I'm using Koopa Top Coat to create a base or foundation for me to do the nail art. This is number 283. right? Yeah, so it might be animated pink. I'm not sure. I think it is animated pink, but this is number 283 in D&D. Well, yeah, I'm basically kind of keeping that correlation to the nail design with each hand, double coating it, of course. But yeah, I'm doing the same thing, repeating the same steps on the other hand, putting the top coat. Like I said, I don't use base coat for my designs only because I find it runnier than top coat. Top coat kind of has like a flat surface rather than base. It's still kind of tacky. So I find my design kind of running along with the inhibition layer, which is not dry enough. So using a top coat is way easier than using a base coat. Alright, so going in with another coat of Blue Island on D&D on his pinky finger. Just keep in mind, it doesn't have to be too perfect. You are, doing a design on top. But yeah. Alright, so I'm doing the little 3 lines that he drew out on the picture. It was like a dark blue. I'm doing these one at a time, of course, because I don't want the colors bleeding into each other. But I'm using a dark blue. Then I'm gonna go in with the Blue Island blue again, because I think he hit his finger in the machine. Yeah, so yeah, I'm going in with oh yeah, wait, no, actually I forgot to do a second coat on this hand. Sorry. Alright, so basically I'm going to be going in with that animated pink with a straight liner brush. Yeah, this brush was kind of hard to work with, so I had to redo that. But yeah, we're going to be doing the lines one at a time. The longer the design brush you have, the easier it is to control. I went in with the Blue Island D&D and the animated pink. Here I am adjusting my camera. And then for the ABBEY monster, I outlined the character. It's kind of like a sketchbook, basically. So drawing out the figure before filling in the colors rather than working in layers with the polish is way easier. It's kind of like a coloring book, basically. So outlining your character rather than having to work in layers is just like you can kind of keep track of where's what, understand like your colors and your color theory, how everything's gonna align. It's just it makes it way more organized and easier, and you don't have to use your brain too much. Just like let your brush move for you. You don't have to think about it. I think this whole set I was thinking too hard. I almost went mentally insane. But yeah, so just kind of following the guidelines. I should have sped up this process a little bit, but to each their own. It'll be over in a second. Alright, so I'm going to be using an airbrush machine to basically create a base color for the 2 designs. On this hand, it's going to be the lips, if you remember from the first photo, and the body outfit thing. But yeah, so I finished the guideline, and I'm just outlining, like coloring in everything. You can still see the black outline that I did create before, which is why I kind of advise to create a guideline before, because you'll still see through the colors since black is pretty opaque, rather than the colors that you're going to be using are pretty light. So yeah, white for like the little fuzzy hat part, the top of her hairline, any colors that you think that would be good for shading. It's like working on a canvas. You're just basically mixing colors back and forth in order to fit your desires. Yeah, so I cut out a whole part. I couldn't record everything. My storage was acting up. But yeah, basically I'm just outlining her eyes and Yeah, outlining her eyes. You can see the little shading parts that I've done. I've mixed up like colors with white, black to kind of contrast the little designs that I've made. I kind of don't, I'm not really that good in doing portraits, but when it comes to like certain freestyles like this, I sort of attempt it just kind of like to enhance my nail skills. I wouldn't say I'm 100% the best, but everybody has their own pace at working. Here are the nails. Yeah, so they came out so cute. I added little charms on the pinky and the thumbs. And the lips, probably my favorite part were the lips and the character. So bye, thank you.